you said all of this is like four corners of a table or four. So to make a complete change in our lives, within ourselves, to experience that, do we need to integrate all of them in our lives, or does it work one by one?
In reality, in integrating all the four together, you will see better results. Meaning, that table is really stable. And I'm going to give all these simple examples. If you go to a restaurant, when you've got a wobbly table, you just put a bit of paper under it, Meaning, sometimes you can bring small changes here and there too, to bring that stability within the life. And even though we may not realize, we are still following those sciences. In Vedas, we believe that our natural reactions are Ayurvedic, Yogic, Vastu, or Jyotish. It all depends on that. For example, let's say when it's really raining a lot outside, heavy rains, cloudy, we automatically stay at home. That is what Jyotish says, in terms of, and that may be a change of, planetary kind of, changes or weather changes. So we are, in terms of our natural reactions, we are staying at home. Vastu is, if a room is really kind of, chaotic, unruly, everything is everywhere, we don't want to stay there. The body or the mind or the emotions say, no, let's get out of it. That means, once again, our natural reactions belong to Vastu too. So in a way, we are following all the four in our everyday lives.
Wow, how interesting is that? And sometimes, I'm guilty of that as well. We hear about certain things, that certain small changes in your environment can actually make bigger changes. Like small things which are very common that we hear, there should be a mirror as you enter the house. So do these small changes really help? Or when we are trying to incorporate Vastu in our life, do we have to really see if every, it has to be done as a full project? Or can we make these small changes which can probably help us?
Yes, absolutely. You will see that, it's not that you have to completely change your lifestyle, your life, or even your living abode to follow Vastu. The way we look into it, our Vedic sciences, is that it's not that you're completely changing everything from your side, but integrating small bits and pieces into your everyday life. And you will see that many thousands of years ago, when it came to our living spaces or houses, people used to buy land first, then build a house on top of it. But now things have changed. Now we directly buy houses, flats, apartments. And I understand that if you've bought an apartment, we can't necessarily break down a wall or change the entrance. So that is where Vastu says, yes, bring those small little changes in terms of, as you've said, put that mirror in terms of near the main door, or make sure that you don't have flowing water just near the main door, because when water is flowing just near the main door, we believe that you're stopping that energy from entering inside. So the main door should be more open, it should be spacious, or even very simple things like when we look into our Vedic or Indian, not today's India in a way, but many years ago, we used to leave our shoes outside. We never brought them inside, because we believe that whenever we walk around, we may carry energy from various environments. So that needs to be left outside. And from that point of view, I understand that nowadays things are different, where people leave their shoes near the main door, once you enter. But that is also not good, because shoes are heavy. So once again, when you're entering, that energy literally drops down or stops there. So I usually tell all my clients, yes, leave the shoes near the main door, but in a cupboard or some kind of a cabinet where you have put it away. That means, energy is easily flowing. So absolutely, we can do small little things in each room to bring those changes. And the way I also tell everyone is of course, I understand when you live in houses are big. That means it might be a big project. But don't look at the house as a whole in the big. Look at each room, each space, your living room, dining room, kitchen, and kind of treat each space as a unit on its own, as if it were a house on its own, and bring changes in those little corners or, directions, so that ultimately when I bring changes in each of the room, it affects the whole house. So it's the same thing that in our body, when each cell is cleansed, ultimately it will help to cleanse the organs. That means it will also help to cleanse the body. So that is how you can integrate it into our daily lives too.
So is there a particular direction that's really important? When we are making these changes, you said that every room unit is like a different house altogether. So is it necessary to first make the changes in, let's say, the kitchen area, which is where there is a lot of food and that nurturing is happening? Or is particular area really important here?
Classically in Vastu, for us, two very important directions are direction of north and east. So sometimes even before you go into what, because see, kitchen may be in south or west or east, we don't know where it is. So putting all of that aside, understand your directions of north and east. We believe that from the east side, the male masculine energy enters into the house, and from the north side, the feminine energy enters into the house. As long as your north direction, so even if there is a wall, keep it clean, tidy, have a big mirror on that big wall in the north direction or on the east direction, if they are closed, because that is how you're bringing energy in. The north direction may also be a bathroom. We never know yet. Still have a mirror, so that it is that feeling of openness where energy is flowing. So that's the first easy change people can make, north and east directions, because these are important ones. And yes, as you rightly said, kitchen is important because kitchen is the central hub of the whole house. Because you will see that when we are hungry, the first thing that we think of is food. But when we think of food, we go to the kitchen. That means, we need fire. And it has been said just the way the fire in the kitchen burns healthily, if that fire burns healthily, our own digestive fire. Now, interestingly, this is where, we're integrating Ayurveda. Yeah, our own digestive fire or Agni will also burn healthily. So it is very important. Again, this is for everyone listening, that every time you cook, the kitchen needs to be neat and clean. Cleanliness is the most important aspect of Vastu. So sometimes directions are also not as important as cleanliness. And I remember when I was growing up, my mom, even before she would cook, first thing in the morning, she would actually clean the kitchen, our old kind of, stone slab surfaces, cleaning everything. And then she would start boiling the milk and the water for our chai and tea in the morning. But once again, in the evening, before going to sleep, she would clean the whole kitchen before she went to sleep. Because we believe kitchen is where also through kitchen, Lakshmi or Saraswati, the two important goddesses, they may enter into the house. So yes.
Wow, how interesting. So just as we close, because this is such an interesting topic, we could just talk endlessly on this, but give us some tips for someone who is buying a house. Those first-time buyers, or if someone's looking into entering a property, what are the things they need to keep in their mind?
Of course, because Vastu is direction. So first of all, looking into directions, that bit is important. Maybe one very important thing to bear in mind, even if you were to put directions aside, is if you're going to be buying a house, make sure that there is no bathroom or toilet on top of the kitchen. Very important, because, when we say bathrooms or toilets, it is that area where we cleanse. And if you have the kitchen just under, because kitchen is not the more fiery, meaning, nourishing side. So we can't have that.
You can't balance fire and water.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Meaning you can't, it's the way the energy drowns down, from top, you flush the toilet and everything. So that one thing is not good. So that is one thing to bear in mind. The other thing also to bear in mind, if you're looking to buy a house, is as soon as you enter, if possible, kind of big space. I'm not saying that it has to be vast or massive, even though you might have your staircase. Sometimes you have houses where you enter, you've got the staircase on one side, but at least the rest of the bit, as soon as you enter, you should have that feeling of openness. That is also one important thing to bear in mind, and two important things, because when you enter, you're bringing energy into the house. When you bring positive energy into the house, it should easily spread into the house. So, two very simple things, to bear in mind whenever people are looking to buy a house.
Interesting. If we already have a house, what are some small changes again that, like, I know about the mirror, which is very common. Any small icons, like I see very interesting icons at the backdrop, something that we can just get or do?
Yes, we can get icons of very simple things. Does not matter whether kitchen or houses or whatever. In the kitchen, always remember to have bright colors. You can have your orange flowers, something red, yellow, orange, because these are fire colors for the kitchen. So even if you already have the house, do that. That is really good. In your living room or your meditation room or your study, bear in mind, these are the places where energy moves quite a lot, and hence colors like blues, whites, like warming colors also for the living room. But for your meditation or study, the way you've got in your background, you've got a bit of blue and a white, that is the best, because it is mind-related changes. If you've got a bedroom, then more earth colors, like, wood color, green, brown, that warming but heavy colors, because when you want to sleep, you want to experience that deep sleep. Never to have red, yellow, orange in the bedroom, because it's too fiery. Even though we think we are sleeping, but our skin is reacting to that color. And, the way that means sleep may not be restful. So just to change the colors of each of the rooms, if you've already have, that is another easy way of changing things according to Vastu.
How interesting. Well, this has been such an enriching chat for us, and I'm sure I'm going to go and research more about it, but or I'll probably contact you. So the Great Big Indian Wellness Show, if you have missed listening to this wonderful chat, you can always go back and see the recording. And thank you so much, Dr. Deepa Apte. My name is
Thank you. Thanks a
Great
lot.
Big Indian Wellness Show.